Hi. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, lovely Cameroonians, and wherever you may find yourself on this planet Earth. It's another lovely evening with the shadows. Just look around you. Do you have a shadow? We all have shadows, and if you don't see yours, then you better look for light. When you have light, you will have shadows. It's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Emmanuel. I'm a clinical counselor, a beauty consultant, and a mind-body therapist. We have a journey with the shadows that are in our lives and the shadows that we see in the lives of others. And this conversation will continue as long as the grace permits us. And today we have a very special topic, which is the pain in our lives, les douleurs dans nos vies. Shadows, c'est l'ombre en français. Il s'agit de ce côté de notre vie qu'on ne parle pas beaucoup de. Let's look at what shadows come with. Shadow, shadow, shadow. Where are you? Here I am. I am shadow. I am shadow. I am in you. I am with you. I am visible. I am invisible. Everyone, everything has a shadow. It grows and matures with us as the day moves on, changing in length and angles. From birth to death, my shadow stays with me, appearing and disappearing. When I am invisible, I am under you, and we call this midday. When I am longest, I am impressive, and we call this dawn or twilight. The shadow is that part of us, that part of our story and our memory we are not proud of, that part of our experience we are not very comfortable with. It can be as well that element of pride, contempt, and arrogance we ignore or are not aware of. That which haunts us, scares us, makes us shiver, revealing our doubts, fears, and uncertainties. Shadow, you make us question our outcome. You are really hard to bear at times. We resign and surrender to you as we realize shadows will always be there with us. Whenever you have the shadow, know the light is close by. We only have the dark because there is the light. The shadow is the product of the light. When you have the shadow, look to the opposite and you will see the light. Do not look to the shadow. Don't look to your pain. Look to the wisdom, the grace that comes on the other side of your pain. As your pain to lead you to the light that changes your life. Being us your shadow, bring us your shadow. Finally, let them come to rest. Finally, let your shadow come to rest. Let your shadow be, let your shadow be, let your shadow be light. Alors donc, l'ombre, c'est cette partie de notre vie, notre existence, notre mémoire, nos souvenirs qu'on n'est pas fier de. On a toujours peur lorsqu'on parle des sujets dans lesquels nous sommes fragiles ou coupables. On se sent mal à l'aise. We say in English that when we talk of dry bones, the old woman feels uneasy. On dit en anglais que lorsqu'on parle des os secs, les vieillards sont mal à l'aise. Donc lorsqu'on discute des sujets de l'ombre et on se sent coupable, ça nous met mal à l'aise. Aujourd'hui, vous êtes invités à être en harmonie avec votre ombre parce que nous en avons tous. Mais n'oublions pas, nous avons l'ombre tout simplement parce qu'il y a la lumière dans l'autre côté. Il ne suffit pas trop de regarder l'ombre, mais regarder la lumière qui a créé l'ombre. Et de cette façon, tout va être léger et très agréable. Pour parler de notre sujet des douleurs, je voulais dire que la douleur, c'est quelque chose qui est inévitable. Et il est surtout invité. Si vous n'avez pas la douleur, vous n'êtes pas forcément vivant. Alors si vous m'écoutez, sachez que vous êtes appelé à avoir la douleur. Let's talk about pain as a part of the family, a welcome part of our lives and the family. If you don't have pain, you will not be alive. And the discussion about pain, you will have pain as an emotional manifestation or a physical manifestation. The neuroscience development around pain makes us know that we will pick up pain as sensations that are communicated to the brain and they are interpreted. But the brain's reaction of sending us pain is not necessarily to hurt us, but sometimes to create awareness, to let us know that there is danger of something that is going wrong. Our first reaction to pain is to sigh, to frown, to complain, and to be completely devastated and frustrated. Before we discuss this even further, I would like us to listen to one of the greatest minds that have developed on the topic of pain. He's a very wise guy. His name is Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is a very, very smart gentleman who has been able to develop the wisdom to a spiritual level, and he's been able to bring a lot of life and comfort to many people. 76 years old German, a spiritual teacher who has developed a lot on the power of the now. He became popular in 2000 when Oprah Winfrey decided to develop on his writing. His original names are Ulrich Leonhard Tolle, and he was revealed to the world in 1977 when he was 29 years old. Il est très important qu'on reçoive quelques enseignements d'un maître spirituel Eckhart Tolle, quelqu'un qui est très très éveillé et qui va nous partager son expérience et quelques leçons sur le sujet de la douleur. Et après ça, on va avoir quelques réactions. Nous avons des numéros qui vont être affichés sur l'écran. We have numbers that will appear on your screen. And please, you can send an SMS or a WhatsApp to compliment, to give your impressions, to continue to encourage us, and to ask questions if there are any, and we will develop them. Can we have the element on pain by Eckhart Tolle, please?
It doesn't mean you cannot seek a cure. You can take steps, but while it's there, to see it as a purification, because it has the potential of completely burning up your ego. So what to do, especially if you've already tried a lot of approaches. It's always easy to speak for somebody who is not experiencing physical pain. At the moment, I'm not experiencing physical pain. I have known pain, but not prolonged period of time, not physical pain over a prolonged period of time. But I know suffering. There is such a thing as conscious suffering. Obviously, you should continue to seek ways of alleviating the pain or finding a cure. But in the meantime, while it's there, I suggest that you explore the possibility of conscious suffering. That was practiced, for example, in Christianity, and it may still be practiced by certain people who are strongly identified with the Christian religion, but it was a very common thing in Middle Ages to, when you had pain, to equate your pain with the suffering of Christ. Christ was the archetype of suffering. Whether you see Christ as a real person that lived, I believe he did, or whether Christ is a mythical concept, it can work in the same way. Christ is the archetype of suffering and of transcending suffering. In the same way that Buddha's teaching, he himself described, Buddha said, I teach suffering and the end of suffering. The literal words of the Buddha. I teach suffering means I show you how suffering arises. The end of suffering is the transcendence of suffering. Jesus didn't say that, but it's all contained in his life and the image of the crucifixion and the cross. Because the cross is the instrument of suffering, it's a torture instrument. And then you see the God nailed to the cross, or the man nailed to the cross. It is the archetype of human suffering. In that sense, one could say he represents every man and woman, because every man and woman goes through their suffering, whether it might not be extreme physical pain, but it is human suffering, some more extreme than others. And then he died, and then the resurrection happened, and then the cross, the torture instrument, the very thing that gave him the pain, symbolizes the divine. So it becomes a portal into the transcendent dimension. By completely surrendering, which is the image on the cross, is the image of total surrender. And that is, in some traditions, called conscious suffering, which is, you don't need to necessarily, if you're not a believing Christian, it would be hard for you to say that you are suffering with Christ. But there's a deep truth in here, and that is, and I have seen it in people that I have known, people who have had pain for years, it can, if used consciously, it can erode your ego completely. If you regard it as a fire that's burning you up, the false you, it burning up, and so conscious is to actually not to resist it psychologically. It doesn't mean you cannot seek a cure, you can take steps, but while it's there, to see it as a purification, because it has the potential of completely burning up your ego if used consciously. And that is for those people who you might as well practice that, because
Wow, être catholique, c'est juste impressionnant. La douleur est une voie pour la purification. Il est capable de complètement brûler ton ego. You know what ego does to us? You know what ego does to us? It takes us away from reason. He tells you, be conscious of the pain. Be aware of the pain. Leave the pain. If you fight the pain, it grows only bigger and it becomes overwhelming. And this has to be done through practice, through conscious practice. Être conscient de la douleur, accepte la douleur, causez avec lui, sachez que la douleur est une voie de la purification. Si vous niez ou le déni, si vous résistez, ça double, ça gonfle la douleur. La douleur est capable de brûler ton ego et donc une voie pour la purification de l'homme. Dans la pratique en différentes thérapies que nous exerçons, nous cherchons la douleur pour pouvoir connaître d'où le problème se trouve dans le corps humain. In therapeutic sessions, we look for the pain in the flesh to be able to identify where the problems are coming from. It is very important for us to be able to know that pain is a message that comes to us to announce a deeper worry and concern. We talk about somatic manifestation. Donc les douleurs arrivent pour nous révéler un souci plus profond qui arrive ou bien qui est déjà installé, qui est capable de complètement modifier notre existence. Donc les douleurs vont commencer à être nos amis à partir de maintenant. On ne va pas créer scandale et l'alarme autour de la douleur. Il est très important de rappeler l'histoire de Job dans la Bible. Remember the story of Job in the Bible. If you look at Job 14, 1-6, it seems unfair to us because we are not born in the crisis. We are not the cause of the crisis. You ask yourself, why was I born in a dysfunctional family? Why was I born African and then afterwards there is slave trade? You know, things like that. These dysfunctional situations in our lives make us start to doubt ourselves and to question our faith. Job as well brought another reflection which tells us that when pain goes beyond our control, we start to doubt the presence of God in our lives. Des fois, même la foi, pour ceux qui ont la foi à la divinité, à une puissance plus élevée, questionnent l'existence de cette puissance et son rôle. Est-ce que je dois continuer à croire? Cette douleur me pousse au niveau où je commence à douter dans ma foi. Mais Edgar dit, cette douleur est la purification, c'est l'élévation. Et nous savons qu'il y a toujours un certain niveau de douleur qui nous pousse. La prochaine fois que tu es devant une situation comme cela, il faut rappeler cette petite discussion. Nous partageons ces expériences pour que vous profitez de cela, pour pouvoir continuer à vous élever spirituellement et à prendre des enseignements spirituels ou sérieux, parce qu'il est vécu dans la pratique quotidienne de notre vie. N'attends pas seulement quand la douleur tombe, quand les situations difficiles nous rencontrent, avant de penser qu'il y a Dieu, il y a une grâce, il y a des puissances plus élevées que notre pensée intellectuelle. It's important that we get inspired in the dialogue of Job, one of the greatest classics in Christian literature, which I think scholars have not developed a lot on. I believe that the dialogue between Job and God, the dialogue between Job and his friends are beautiful classics that crystallize manifestation of pain, especially emotional pain, and the journey in that pain, because it was a whole journey, and how at the end of the day you believe with Tolle that pain is the journey of purification. You become elevated. We won't look for pain, it will come to us in various ways, and always like the shadow, see the light that brings the shadow, see the grace that is just somewhere on the other side of the pain, and you will be elevated. Jesus' story on the cross was well described there. The very cross that we use for salvation was the one that was used to inflict pain on the Savior. L'histoire de Jésus et la croix est bien expliquée par Edgar Tolle. Cette croix aujourd'hui qui est utilisée pour le salut était l'instrument de la torture par excellence. Alors donc, nous allons avoir une petite transition, et comme prévu, nous avons les musiques sacrées, les sons sacrés, et bien sûr, si vous voulez, voilà l'un des sons sacrés. Après la transition, vous allez écouter un artiste qui est juste impressionnant et qui parle, il chante de ses douleurs et avec des mots tellement touchants. We listen to this beautiful artist. I will introduce him to you after the transition. In sacred songs, he sings his pain. The title is The Dark, and we are going to develop a great depth in that exposure with this great artist, which I will introduce to you shortly. Transition, please. Welcome back to The Shadows. It was nice having you on set. And if you have been moving in and out of the room, picking things, you don't need to be moving during The Shadows. Be still. Be calm, relax, and breathe from your stomach. Release your shoulders, because if you are still, you will see the light that brings the shadows in your pain. His name is SYLML. SYML. His album is called Sacred Places, and that is SYLM is a Welsh word for simple. That's his artistic name. And of course, his original name is Brian Fennell. He's a solo self-taught guitarist and pianist from Seattle in Washington. He started music at the age of 18, and he became famous with his first album at 2005. SYML plays in sacred places, and this album was presented in a chapel and in England, and the story is just beautiful. We'll talk about it at the end of the song, and I want you to listen to SYML. My dear friend Brian, he says, my music taps into the instinct that drives people to places of sanctuary. My music taps into the instinct that drives people to places of sanctuary. Do you have a place of sanctuary? Do you have one in your home, in your community, the way you go when the shadow hits on you? Then let this music by our friend Brian inspire you. Il s'appelle Brian. Il a commencé la musique tout seul à 18 ans. Il joue des musiques qui vous guident vers des endroits d'apaisement où votre douleur peut être moins encombrant pour vous de le porter. Et nous allons l'écouter, ça s'appelle The Dark. L'album c'est Sacred Places, les espaces sacrés. Let's listen to Brian.
My fire starved of oxygen, a flicker in the howling wind. Beware, the night is closing in, and if I fall asleep, the shadows win. Where the darkness came to take my fate, it tried to steal my words to pray. My love came down like holy rain, and she became my God that day. And she became my God that day. She taught me how to think out loud, to listen when there ain't no song, to love myself through all the dark, to sing and make my mother proud. In the dark I learned to love again, a sacred place it's always been, where souls depart and life begins. The dark led me to light again. Yeah, the dark led me to light again.
Wow. And the darkness led me back to light. Wow, ça vous a emporté? Did it carry you? Did it lift you? Did you feel the presence of the light in your pain? Then let me know. Go to the number on your screen, send me a message now, and let me know that the darkness led you to light. My fire is starved of oxygen. These are the words of Brian. A flicker in the howling wind, beware the night is closing in. If I fall asleep, the shadows will win, so don't fall asleep. Well, the darkness came to take my faith. Yes, like in Job, when the pain is so hard, you doubt the presence of God. It tried to steal my words to pray. Sometimes you don't even know how to focus. My love came down like holy rain, and she became my God that day. She taught me how to think aloud, to listen when there ain't no sound, to love myself throughout the doubts. When you have doubts, keep trusting and loving yourself. To sing and make my mother proud. Oh, to sing and make my mother proud. Bien sûr, les mamans, vous avez toujours été là. On va tout faire pour que vous soyez fiers de nous. In the dark, I learned to love again. A sacred place it's always been. The soul departs and life begins. The dark led me to light again. L'obscurité, l'ombre, le ténèbre m'a amené vers la lumière. C'est-à-dire cette obscurité, cette douleur, ces peines, tout ce que nous avons traversé, tout ce que nous avons vécu, qui nous ont fait croire que c'était la fin de tout, la dépression, l'anxiété, l'angoisse, le burn-out, les douleurs hallucinantes, la dépendance sur l'alcool, la drogue, l'insuffisance, le manque de confiance en soi. All of this darkness, the shadows, dependence, syndromes of different types, depression, anxiety, pain, anguish, anger, the bitterness, the frustrations, the humiliations, the anguish, and the difficulty to forgive, to relax, to let go. These challenges, we will get to know how one great lady was able to grow out of it. I hope you love this song, and if that is the case, let me know as you send me a message on the number on your screens so that we can be able to read and keep motivating others. Merci si vous avez aimé cette morceau, cette partage. Si vous avez été touché, partagez. Envoyez un SMS ou un WhatsApp sur le numéro qui est affiché sur l'écran. Et bien sûr, nous avons une petite transition et une petite rubrique commerciale et nous allons revenir encore dans l'ombre. We'll come back to the shadows after this transition and a little commercial break. And then, of course, dear friends, lovely ones, we will come back to the shadows. But don't forget, the light is just on the other side. See you shortly.
Is beauty your passion? Do you doubt your natural talents? Do you have free time to idle around each day and more? CHIANGONG Hair Beauty and Fashion School and Academy offers you a successful career. Graduates and school dropouts alike develop competence in hairdressing, beauty therapy, therapeutic massage, special makeup, nail art, spa management, and so much more. An international and bilingual school and academy since 1984. Accredited by the Ministry of Employment and Vocational Training. CHIANGONG Hair Beauty and Fashion. Creativity with discipline. More than 35 years of experience. Head Office 545 Rue Sylvanie Bernabe, Akwa-Douala, Cameroon. Contact +237 675 882872 or 677 856768. Bonamoussadi Agency, Viva Coiffure, Eneo Building Zone A, Douala. Contact +237 653 560196. Facebook, Emmanuel CHIANGONG.
That's beautiful one. We appreciate these committed professionals for what they are doing in the industry. And we'll get a little transition, and after that we'll go to the book review. And the book review today will be discussing a great lady. Her name is Emma M. Wonja, and her book is called Oser dire oui à l'univers. A must read. Whether you can read English or French, you better get a translator. We are getting to the book review, and this is also a journey in pain. But in the story of Emma, we have light. You know, there is light at the end, and that's why it's a beautiful concept for the topic of today. It's a beautiful input. Donc, on va parler des revues des livres, et dans le revue des livres aujourd'hui, nous avons le livre de Oser dire oui à l'univers, Oser dire oui à l'univers par Emma Wonja, le voilà. Et cet livre raconte l'histoire de la douleur émotionnelle, physique, frustration et de la lumière. C'est pour ça Emma nous appelle à venir avec lui vivre le oui que l'univers apporte toujours à la fin de la douleur. We'll have a small transition, and after the transition, we will examine the story of Emma Wonja. Merci beaucoup. S'il vous plaît, n'appelez pas, envoyez SMS. Beaucoup de gens essayent d'appeler. Je ne peux pas prendre les appels. Envoyez le SMS, envoyez le WhatsApp sur le numéro. Je vais relire et je vais commenter. Donc voilà, Emma Wonja, cette brave dame qui est à Daido. Souvent, quand on parle de livres, vous pensez qu'on va parler d'un livre de New York, de Paris, je ne sais pas où. Celui-ci sort de Daido. At Douala. So we are talking about Emma Wonja. It's not in New York, like Brian, or from Germany, like Ed Catholic. This one is from us. It's from Daidu. Great work, and I would like the book to just be on the screen again as I am commenting. That is the book. It's written in French, Oser dire oui à l'univers, written by this great lady, Emma Wonja. I'm going to share her story with you and the lessons that her story brings to us. How pain leads you to grace. And if you see this book and the message that this book carries, that's the light. But only an Emma Wonja would have brought so much wisdom to the world. And I thank God because, Emma, you are still there, still motivating and inspiring us. You are our grace. So let us go into the story. Emma Wonja is an insurance expert that lives and writes as a writer in Douala. Yes, we just get back to the set. It's good with the book, yeah. And Emma's story starts in, 7th of March 2008 when she went on mission to Limbe as an insurance executive, and she slept that night and only got up in Paris, in France, in Montpellier, and she was told that she had been in coma from the 7th of March of that year, 2008, to the 15th of April. That's like 45 days, for more than 45, almost 2 months in coma. And when you read through the works of Emma, there are places where, he came up with the fact that the doctors had given up that he could come back to life, and they were wanting a family member to take off life support from her. I know this is a very emotional discussion, and I know that, Emma, you may be watching us this evening because I sent a message that I'll be treating this book. I know I've taken a lot of liberty with your work. If it were only meant for you, you would like to just hide in your corner, but I have said it, and this is the work of grace. You are light, and this light that you bring to all of us will continue to shine because many more people will buy these books and read, and they will have courage to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Je sais que cet livre est une dualité. Il y a beaucoup de peine et beaucoup de chagrin à l'intérieur, mais c'est cette lumière à la fin qui m'inspire, qui m'appelle à ce travail. Emma se retrouvait le 7 mars 2008 à Limbe en mission, un cadre supérieur de l'assurance, et elle dort ce jour et elle s'élève plus d'1 mois après dans un hôpital après avoir fait presque 45 jours en coma en France. Donc, voilà l'histoire de quelqu'un qui sort du coma. Elle trouve qu'elle ne peut plus utiliser son corps parce qu'elle est complètement compromis. It was completely challenged. Elle est complètement challengée. Je n'aime pas le mot handicapé parce qu'en principe, quand on voit quelqu'un qui boite, on pense qu'il est handicapé. Par contre, il y a des gens qui ont des cerveaux bizarres, mais qui marchent et qui sont bien habillés et qui torturent les gens. Donc, je voulais dire qu'elle était challengée physiquement, mais voir le niveau intellectuel que beaucoup de gens qui font de 100 mètres ne peuvent pas nous donner. Bon, ce n'est pas le débat. Je voulais simplement dire que, vous voyez ce que ça fait? D'abord, tu te lèves, tu sors du coma, plus d'un mois après, et tu es dans un pays étranger. Tu imagines ce que ça veut dire. C'est un traumatisme. On va arriver à les analyses très psychologiques profondes d'Ima. On dira qu'on avait affaire à un psychologue clinicien. So this was, first of all, the first trauma. Ima comes out of coma in a strange land, in a strange environment with strange people around her, and that becomes a shock and trauma. When this happened to her, she came to the awareness that she had been diagnosed of a cerebral accident, cerebral vascular accident, and that had completely paralyzed her physically. Well, this is a sad revelation, and she gets into a shock. Emma has the possibility, as I go through some areas of this book, I realized that she had some really good, le tsunami dans ma vie, de l'accident à mon réveil du coma. Avant de commencer ces écrits, je tiens à préciser que j'ai eu beaucoup de mal à me replonger dans ces souvenirs, car ce sont les moments forts en émotion. D'ailleurs, en décembre 2012, il m'est arrivé de passer une journée à Limbe, ville où a eu lieu mon accident, avec certains membres de ma famille. Nous avions déjeuné au restaurant où j'avais dîné le 7 mars 2008, veille de mon accident. J'avais immédiatement reconnu cet endroit et cela n'avait pas manqué de me bouleverser pour le reste de la journée. I just want to confess to all of you that as I'm writing this book and bringing this past of my life to you, it's a very challenging emotional experience because they are very painful experiences that we went through in that accident. I actually went back to the scene in 2012, that is like 4 years after the incident, and it was quite a trauma. We're talking of post-traumatic challenges that we go through. So, what do we talk about is that Emma was able to diagnose through her story the cause of her accident. She traced it back to a personality disorder that may be common with the type of people we share our lives with. We are talking about what we call narcissistic personality. Je tiens à revenir que Emma n'a pas seulement raconté son histoire. Il a diagnostiqué la cause de son problème parce que beaucoup peuvent souffrir de ce problème aujourd'hui et peuvent ignorer. Et nous avons des personnes qui partagent nos vies, supposées être des soutiens et des appels à l'ordre, et des personnes qui nous remontent dans le moment difficile. Mais des fois, on se retrouve dans des situations où cette personne sur qui on doit compter le plus est celui qui est l'origine ou la source de toutes nos douleurs. On parle ici des personnes qui ont des troubles de personnalité. Classement B de ces troubles, nous avons les personnes les plus hystériques. Dans ces groupes, nous avons les narcissiques, les narcissistic personality, nous avons les antisociales, nous avons les personnes qui ont des comportements toujours pour anéantir, pour compromettre la valeur de ceux qui sont autour d'eux et qui ont une vue exagérée de leur importance et ne supportent pas les critiques, ainsi de suite. On ne peut pas faire ces diagnostics sur la plateforme de télé, mais sachez que c'est un diagnostic médical qui peuvent dire que telle personne. Mais il y a des indications quand même qui te disent que fais attention, je pense qu'il y a un problème à côté de moi. Vous allez lire ce livre pour avoir tous les détails tels qu'il est développé. On va parler, il sait manquer son véritable personnage, il est un expert dans l'art de manipulation, le pervers narcissique est maître dans le mensonge, il est mythomane, il affiche un caractère de suffisance et de sadisme, et bien sûr, il est paranoïaque, colérique et il écrase son partenaire, son double jeu lui permet d'avoir de l'emprise sur son partenaire. Il ne se caractérise par la violence. These are some of the personality traits of a narcissistic personality, which was the type of experience that gradually brought Emma to this very sad and painful experience. Okay, that was the painful side of it. Let us look at how it happened. When in chapter 5, one of the main challenges that Emma brings is that when you are challenged, you become lonely. And Emma says that I have never been a very popular, outgoing person. I've always been much to myself. But that is fine. But when you make a choice to be on your own, that's fine. But when you are compelled to be on your own, it's painful. And this is the situation where she found herself. Dans chapitre 4, Emma parle de la solitude comme l'un des douleurs de lorsqu'on est obligé d'être condamné à être sur place parce qu'on a perdu la capacité d'être mobile à travers un accident comme ce qu'elle a vécu. Elle a dit, l'un des plus grands douleurs, c'est la solitude. Pourquoi? Pour que vous sachiez que si vous avez un membre de la famille ou dans votre communauté qui vit cette expérience, changez votre comportement. Même un coup de fil, une visite, vaut mieux que tout l'argent que tu peux l'envoyer ou passer un temps avec cet membre de la famille. Causer avec lui est un grand pouvoir de guérison inestimable. Donc, elle a dit, je ne suis pas quelqu'un qui aime les sorties, qui s'amuse beaucoup. D'habitude, mais c'était un choix. Donc, ma solitude à ce moment n'était pas en solitude, c'était un choix. Mais lorsque vous serez condamné à être sur place, parce que vous ne pouvez pas aller faire vos choses comme d'habitude, vous allez comprendre ce que c'est la solitude. Comment est-ce qu'elle a fait? Elle était obligée d'aller dans des ressources. Par exemple, j'ai passé le temps dans les fonds de musique de mes chanteurs préférés tels qu'Aretha Franklin, El Klug, Luther Vandross, Richard Bona et Boalotin Bendeka. Il y a beaucoup d'autres atouts. On va parler à la fin des différents outils aides thérapeutiques que vous voyez manifester dans cette émission. You will see different tools that you can use to bring light in your life when there is the shadow and the darkness. Emma's case, she went into the listening of music to help her catch up for the loneliness and the isolation. She gives music like Aretha Franklin, El Klug, Vandross, Luther Vandross, Richard Bona, Boalotin and Bendeka as some of the music that pampered her. And then, of course, when you go through these challenges, she brings the writing of one of the greatest minds in loss. The greatest minds in loss of liberty, loss of freedom, loss of a loved one. You will be inspired by the works of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, this psychologist, American psychologist who wrote on the different stages. He says, when you lose, or let it be death or separation, the first is denial, and of course you will move on to anger, and then you go on to compromise, you depress, and then you accept. She went through all of those stages, and it wasn't an easy experience at all. But at the time that she came out of it, there was some powers that came to her rescue. And elle dit ici, I'll just try to do a cite here on page 120, page 120. D'abord, ce que je constatais dans un premier temps, j'avais retrouvé un sommeil paisible. Au moment où j'ai fait le voyage émotionnel, les étapes émotionnelles telles qu'il est là, on a cité ces noms. Nous avons, selon le travail de psychologue américaine Kubler-Ross, nous avons les différentes étapes. Lorsqu'on a perdu quelqu'un ou perdu quelque chose de cher, il y a d'abord le déni, il y a la colère, on marchande, on essaie de négocier. Là, d'abord, on dit que jamais ce n'est pas la vérité. Mais certains gens s'arrêtent à ce niveau. On continue, il y a la colère. Pourquoi moi, Dieu, qu'est-ce que je t'ai fait, ainsi de suite. On marchande. Et puis, lorsqu'on commence à accepter, c'est la dépression, c'est la douleur, il y a l'acceptation. Et à partir de là, la guérison vient. Donc, il dit, d'abord, quand j'ai fait ce voyage à la guérison, j'ai retrouvé un sommeil paisible. J'avais arrêté de scruter les moindres progrès. Je ne cherchais pas même la guérison. J'ai accepté qui je suis à ce moment-là parce que j'étais déjà là. The present, the now, the here and now. I am here. I'm not looking for products. I'm celebrating the now, the life that is in me. J'ai resté indifférent au temps qui passait et je ne faisais plus de cela un problème existentiel. J'avais énormément gagné en sérénité. When I focus on the here and the now, I developed serenity. I was no more anxious about am I improving or not. I was celebrating that I was here and I was somebody. Then, of course, what are the spiritual lessons that we learn from here? Quelles sont les leçons spirituelles? Ima vient rapidement nous dire une interrogation est néanmoins en droit de nous venir à l'esprit au regard de tout ce qui se passe dans le monde. Il y a beaucoup de mal, les catastrophes, la douleur, la peine et les problèmes graves, les maladies qu'on ne soigne pas. La réponse est simple. On ne peut pas avoir toute la réponse, mais on souhaite signaler que selon les écrivains comme Wendaya, qu'il m'a cité, Edgar Tolle qui a parlé tout récemment, il dit, pour aller dans le même sens, voici une explication biblique. La souffrance est un instrument que Dieu utilise pour attirer notre attention et pour accomplir ses desseins dans notre vie. Pain is the tool that God uses to bring realizations and elevations in our life according to his will. And it says all works for the good of those who believe. And that's what Ima is saying here. And of course, when Daya comes, tout est dans l'ordre divin et se produit pour vous donner des leçons grandes et héroïques. Toutes nos pensées sur la façon dont les événements devraient se dérouler ne sont que des impressions sur la manière dont Dieu devrait orchestrer les choses. We don't master the will of God. He is the one who is the all-dominating, the all-powerful, the all-providing, and we can count on his special grace to be able to learn. The book is Osez dire oui à l'univers. It's still in English, in French rather, but it's easy, fluid, beautiful French, which everybody can read. Next week, we'll be having another beautiful book that I will put up on my Facebook page, the Facebook page of Shadows and the Facebook page of Emmanuel CHIANGONG. I will put it on both of them, and I hope that the discussion with dare to believe in the universe, dare to believe in God's grace for you. If you are still alive, Ima brings us this light from a wheelchair. He writes on a computer with one finger, and he was able to produce a book like this, telling you what pain of an unbearable level can bring us unlimited grace. And now this grace of Ima is shared through us through this beautiful book you have on your screen. It's always a pleasure sharing great works of great women and men, and especially those of my country. And I believe that you will all go for this book. And if you are interested in having this book, please send a WhatsApp message on the number on your screen. Si cet livre vous a touché, si ce voyage vous a touché, et si vous estimez que causer avec Ima Wanja va vous inspirer à continuer à être au-dessus de l'ombre qui hante votre vie, elle va vous recevoir. Et bien sûr, si vous avez besoin d'avoir une copie de ce livre, il faut que vous envoyez un WhatsApp un message sur le numéro qui est affiché sur votre écran, parce que la lecture de ce livre, c'est un instrument de guérison, c'est un outil thérapeutique, et je demande tous les professionnels de la santé mentale à différents niveaux d'avoir ce livre. Ça va aussi vous amener à voir comment Ima a apprécié les manquements auprès des professionnels de la santé mentale qui imaginent que lorsqu'on est physiquement compromis, on est aussi mentalement compromis. Des fois, vous voyez l'intelligence de Ima, ça n'a rien à faire avec son physique, et des fois, même devant le médecin et les professionnels, on ne croit pas que la personne qui ne peut pas marcher a un cerveau qui est au-delà de celui d'Einstein. Merci, on va voir une petite transition, et cette transition va nous amener progressivement à la fin de cette émission où on va parler des éléments, des instruments qui apportent beaucoup d'apaisement dans nos vies et comment on peut continuer à profiter de cela. Let's move to the next point, which will be the elements of the shadows that can be part of your life at home and help you in the journey of healing. I'm sure some of you are very familiar with this gesture of lighting the lamp. And I think that it's one of my beautiful experiences when I am on set. And this light, you know, there are many children who do not have the experience of knowing what is this lampe. Vous appelez ça la lampe tempête. Pour moi, ça, c'est la lumière. À l'époque où on grandissait, la lumière était très rare la nuit. Et aujourd'hui, il y a la lumière partout jusqu'à ça nous embrouille. Et la lecture était difficile. Donc souvent, j'amène ça pour me rappeler de quand la lumière était rare. On était environ 8 autour de ces lampes en train de lire. Et souvent, ça faisait qu'on avait plus de focus dans la lecture. Aujourd'hui, les enfants ne lisent plus beaucoup. Les parents, vous devez tout faire pour que la lecture reste dans les habitudes de nos enfants. Donc, j'ai parlé de la lecture comme l'un des instruments de la guérison, parce que dans la bonne lecture, la lecture appropriée, on va avoir des messages comme ce que Ima vient de partager avec nous. Nous avons également la possibilité de connaître la lumière apaisante, pas la lumière agressive chez nous. Il faut varier la lumière dans la maison. Il ne faut pas avoir des grosses lampes qui brillent tout le soir. Et quand les enfants vont au lit, diminuer la lumière, que ça soit vraiment tamisé, parce qu'ils ont besoin de se reposer. Et la lumière forte continue à travailler même le cerveau des enfants et développer des activités dans ce cerveau, même quand ils dorment. Light that is harsh in the evenings is very damaging to children, especially when they are going to bed. Use soft lighting. The essence will come to you in the perfumes you use, but we have essential oils that are very important when you know their therapeutic values and strength. We use them to be able to appease, to be able to take people out of depression, control their anxiety, and also reduce physical pain and emotional pain. We will take you as well to sound, just like you listened to Brian play. You can listen to this sound and many other sounds, rivers flowing, birds singing like last time with Yanni, and of course the beauty of flute music and not aggressive, violent sound that would destabilize our emotions. It appeases and it soothes. And then, of course, you have different ways of bringing essence into your homes to appease them. As we are coming gradually to the end of this MISH program today, we had more callings. We want you to send SMS, and we wanted you as well to send messages by WhatsApp. So you can still continue to send your messages, and if you have questions, if you have somebody in the shadow, in challenging situations and in painful experiences, then of course we will be able to bring help to you through different therapeutic approaches that we can bring and references to other wonderful therapies that we have in Cameroon and beyond. And of course, literature and documentations that can help appease you even at a distance and make you go through the valley of the shadow of the dead, fearing no evil, that every time you see the shadow, the light is just nearby. We have a last transition, and then we'll have a short meditation as we walk out of the studio. Gardez les yeux fermés et restez calme, assis, redressez le corps, respirez avec le ventre. Respirez calmement, fermez les yeux, gardez le torse droit, avoir un petit sourire sur le visage lorsque vous écoutez cette musique et respirez calmement. Lâchez les épaules et souriez. Pensez à tout ce qui a été agréable dans votre vie dans les 24 dernières heures. Think of the beautiful things you experienced in the last 24 hours. Just one of them. And relax yourself as you listen to this music. Gradually and slowly open your eyes as you keep a beautiful smile on your face. These are little experiences we will encourage you to do at the end of every day when you do your meditation. This was a beautiful experience being with you on the shadows as we come to the close of this program. We thank you all for watching the program, and all those who have sent us messages and greetings and congratulations. We appreciate your contributions. We want to give very special thanks to the management of My Media TV that have this foresight of wanting us to share wisdom that can heal us before we go to bed. You can slow the music now and slow it off. We want also to thank Mr. Desley, who is at the technical control, who is my producer. And I have special regard to the general manager, Mr. Leonard Kum, and the technical director, Mr. Mike. I know you're not feeling very well. I wish that the energy and the light of the shadows come over to you where you are sick and get you out of the darkness, because the light is here with shadows. We want to thank all of you viewers who stayed up to watch this program, and we believe that it was helpful and uplifting to you. We look forward to you sending us a message and giving us your interest areas, your directives. But remember, we will bring you information that will feed your five senses and bring peace to your mind, your body, and your soul. Emmanuel CHIANGONG was at your service. Thank you for watching. Smile.